Hello, everybody. This is Reverend Barbara Kawa coming to you with a masterclass on chakras and auras. And so what we'll start out with is, why do we need to know about these? It's because we are made up of energy and matter. However, energy is a big part of it. So our energy centers actually assist us in living our lives in the way that we um, have our behaviors, things like that. And the chakras hold a lot of that. There are 7 major chakra systems located on our body, and I will be showing some diagrams to explain exactly where they are. However, it's not just the 7. I took a course where we had counted, I think it was 24 of them above our heads, and even some of them below our feet. So there are more, and they each have a purpose. And the purpose is so that we can understand how we as humans actually work. It's kind of nice to have a little bit of a manual, isn't it? Yeah. So our chakra systems, those are the 7 major ones because they're located mostly on the body, except for the crown, which is above your head. And so all of the chakras can vary in size depending on what's going on in your life. They can be open or closed. They can also, like, they are from front to back. In the beginning, I was taught that chakras were only on the front of our body, outwards, but that's not true. They are front and back. They look like mini tornadoes, sort of like a cone tornado. So it's coming out. So the smaller part being closer to the body, the larger part going outwards. They can be, different sizes and, yes, different shapes, depending on if there are blockages or anything like that. And we also have itty bitty mini chakras all over our body everywhere. And that's why we are able to pick up energies much, much easier, with everything that goes on around us. So that's kind of how, when we're picking up energies, when we enter a room and things like this, well, you know what? That's how we pick it up. That's how they get in, these energies. Doesn't mean we keep them closed. It just may mean that we need to be aware of how open or how closed they are. They will open more when we are in certain situations. Like if we are doing readings, as an example, if we are teaching a class such as this, there are many different ways that they might be more open. Maybe to the person that you love, like family members, spouse, whoever it may be, children, we may open our chakras a little bit more. And so depending on the chakra, that's indicates, like, which one might be more open than others. So as an example, if we're with someone that we love, our heart chakra might be more open because we're open to them. Now, they may close a little bit if we're encountering someone that maybe we don't like so much, or maybe we feel like we're being threatened in some way, so they can actually close a little bit. And so they go out from the body and they make up our auric shield. And I'll get into the auric shield a little bit further down because it's easier if we just get into what the chakras, each of them, mean and why we have them. And if they're too small, too big, if they're in a different shape, like they can be oblong or oval or something like this, and therefore, there's something wrong. Sometimes those who actually see or feel may notice or even know, whatever of the 4 clairs are strongest for you. And you may notice that there's dark spots, or there could be, like, it looks like a tear, or it looks like a specific symbol. So symbols do show up in the chakras. So you can have different symbols in there. I took medical intuition training, and we actually used these chakra systems, and we looked at all of like what was going on, what the symbol was in there. There are belief systems in there, like all kinds of things are inside our chakras. And depending on which chakra it is, that will then pertain to which area in life you may be affected by. So here we go. We'll start with the root chakra, and its color is red. It governs the sense of smell. The challenge of this chakra is to think before acting. The desires are physical contact, and the key word is physical. It is located at the base of the spine. So it's like down, very down at the very bottom, near where your genitals are and all of that. So right at the base of the spine, right in that area. So that's where it's located. And it points downwards. So unlike the other chakras, they are front to back, except for the root and the crown. The root points down, the crown points up. They still spin and do all of that. However, that's how they actually spin. And it builds up vitality and keeps us grounded. So if you really want to do true grounding, the best place is from the root chakra at the base of the spine to the center of the earth. That will give you the strongest pull and will actually keep you connected. All the chakras are connected to each other. And so therefore, if there is, for some reason, they may be separated, that might be why, like you talk about the head and the heart. Well, that might be why the head and the heart aren't in the same place, because their connection isn't connected anymore. So those are the kinds of things that you might look out for. It's like, okay, so, there might be something that's not going on here that should be. So if it is actually working well, you'll feel vibrant, alive, full of energy, ready to go. It governs also all of the physical things in this world. So money is located in the root chakra. So if you are having any type of money issues, that's a good place to look to see if there's something going on there that you may need to address in order to take care of any money issues that you might be having. It also governs our sense of smell and the solid parts of our bodies, such as nails, bones, teeth, all of that kind of stuff. It also is where our fight or flight response comes from. So that's where that comes from. It's that immediate thing, oh, it's time for us to go. Or maybe we'll stay and fight. So understimulated, we feel nervous, insecure, and fear can gather in this chakra. Overstimulated, we can be domineering, self-centered, addicted to money and sex. So those are the kinds of things that you might look out for if it so happens that your root chakra is having some issues. So it's all about that, the physical side of things, the physical aspects of your life, such as your home, all of those kinds of physical, straightforward things. So if you're having issues in those areas of life, that's where you're going to look. What's going on there? And at the end, I'll tell you about ways that you can help heal your chakras. And I'm sure you guys may have heard of other different things that you might be able to do. This is in addition to, and other ways of perhaps helping your own chakras. So now we go to the sacral chakra. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share a picture of the chakras and the aura so that you can take a look at that and see what that looks like. Okay, there we go. Share screen. And here's what it looks like. So this is what the chakras and the aura look like? So that's your root chakra right there. That's your sacral chakra, which is orange. Solar plexus is yellow. Heart is green. However, if someone is extremely compassionate, it can actually have pink in it. So that's something to be aware of. Your throat chakra is blue. Third eye is indigo. And your crown chakra is a white violet color. And you can see how they each correspond to your aura layers. Okay, so I'll stop the share. And so that's what they each look like. So your sacral chakra is orange. It governs taste. The desires are respect and acceptance. The challenge is to love and serve others. And the key word is social. So the sacral chakra is located right above where, in women, where our womb would be, or the lower abdomen. And if you think about it, it's right where, we have our babies. And so it does govern a lot of the emotions, sexuality, creativity, emotional balance. And it really governs self-acceptance and respecting self. It stimulates optimism of hope on an emotional level. It relates to our sense of taste. How's that for fascinating? This is all really, really cool stuff. People who relate well to others have a balanced sacral chakra, and they can interact smoothly and fluidly with others. So if you are having issues with your sacral chakra, then you can experience illnesses such as arthritis and other things. So, you look towards the chakras when it comes to illnesses as well, because that's where a lot of it will show up before it becomes a physical illness. So when I do my medical intuition training, we are trained to look into the chakras pertaining to a physical illness that our client may have. So we can see if there's any energetic influences on that particular chakra. So then we can see where it may have originated from and help to clear that up. And if it is understimulated, the illness often comes from negative emotions of anger, frustration, and resentment. If it's overstimulated, we are manipulative, aggressive, and overly self-indulgent. So by knowing a lot of these different things, then you can go, oh, okay, so if we're over or understimulated, then we need to do certain things to counteract that. And so it's knowing, what's going on. If a woman has issues with, her pregnancies or with menstruation or things like that, that's a good place to look to see if there are any issues within that chakra that show up, such as belief systems and things like that, that could be affecting how the womb and everything is functioning. So these are good ways to actually take a look and see what's going on. So the next one we're going to look at is the solar plexus chakra. It is yellow. And here's an interesting thing. It is the sense that it governs is the sense of sight. Haha. It desires to understand. The challenge is to communicate effectively with loved ones. And the keyword is intellect. So it's actually interesting to look at what each chakra means, because it may not be what you think it is. We've been taught a lot of times that it's the throat chakra that we do communication and all of that kind of stuff. However, it's also the solar plexus is playing into it as well. And it is located basically tummy area, just above your belly button. And so it's in that area that it sits. And it also, all of the chakras actually govern the organs that they sit on top of. So if you're looking at your solar plexus, so it's going to govern things like liver, pancreas, and those type of organs that are underneath there, as well as stomach, obviously. And it is a vital auric body. It's the rational mind to understand the situation in a clear, linear, and rational way. I have always believed that clear knowing or clear cognizance comes in that area, because that's where I always feel it when I'm giving readings and I feel a knowing. So I found it very interesting when I read all of this stuff about the chakras that that's where it was lying. And I was like, oh, look, it really does come from there. And it's not that I doubt it in the sense of that that's where it's coming from for me. It's a good confirmation to know that that's where it is for me, and that's where it is for everybody else. It's about warmth, good self-esteem, and happiness. When working efficiently, it relates to the absorption and assimilation of food, giving good digestion and a feeling of physical well-being. It relates to our eyes. When we are happy and content, the world seems brighter. Relates to sensitivity. On an emotional level, it creates optimism, creativity, self-respect, and confidence. Anger and hostility can build up if a person is living negatively. Understimulated, lack of confidence, become confused and feel that we have no control over our lives. Overstimulated, we become workaholics, perfectionists, and overly demanding. The solar plexus is also responsible for our will and our willpower. So that's where that comes from. And again, it's front and back. Back is about how we present ourselves to the world, and front is how we present ourselves to ourselves. That's where the phrase stabbed in the back comes from, because that's where the public, the people, in the general population reside in relationship to ourselves. So it's an interesting little concept to think about. And so, the solar plexus is about power. So if we feel powerless, then you look to the solar plexus and see if maybe it's either clogged, blocked, or maybe too small. And therefore, it's not giving us the power that we need in whatever situation. So that's a good one to look at when it comes to that. And so we now get to the heart. So our heart chakra is green, and sometimes with pink in the middle, because pink is compassion. The sense is touch, desires to love and be loved. The challenge is to gain confidence. Keyword is emotions. We all know where the heart chakra is. It's right in the center of the chest, in general area of where our heart is. And it is the astral or emotional body, relations with others, loving interaction with friends and family. It relates to love, harmony, sympathetic understanding, and the sense of touch. When we are in touch with someone, our heart goes out to them. On an emotional level, this chakra enhances compassion, self-acceptance, and respect for self and others. Understimulated, or you become overly sensitive, overly sympathetic, and have the need to constantly give to others, and they feel sorry for themselves and are constantly afraid. Codependents have this condition. Overstimulated, possessive, demanding, moody, and controlling. So you can see how the heart chakra affects a lot of our emotional lives. If you're someone who's always giving, 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 then it probably means that you're understimulated. That means that you're not getting what you need from the relationships you have. You feel you always have to give and you're not receiving enough. And so therefore, then, you'll get burnt out. Caregivers have this issue where they're giving and giving and giving. Also healers tend to like to do this and give and give and give and give, really not paying attention to the fact that it's because they need a different type of stimulation in order to get the heart chakra to open more. And it's also a problem with those who cannot receive. Traditionally, it's usually women who have a difficult time receiving because of the way they've been brought up. They've been brought up to, serve the family, to take care of the household, all of that kind of thing in previous years. And it still happens a bit today. However, maybe not as much, I'm not sure. However, it's still expected that women are going to be the ones who are the caregivers in the family. And they may have a more difficult time to receive love and affection, to ask for what their needs are, like what do you really need? Do you need love, affection? Do you need a day off from the kids and the family? Do you need to go on a date with your spouse? Sometimes what happens is we don't want to ask for what we need and want for fear that someone will say no, or perhaps we believe we don't deserve it. And, truth is we do deserve it. We're human, we're amazing, and we contribute a lot. So we do deserve it. And no matter whether you do have a family and spouse and children and all that, you still need to be taken care of. It doesn't matter what the situation is, we need to be taken care of as well, whether it be with ourselves, or maybe we have friends and family members outside of that who can assist us with what we need. So a lot of what happens with chakra systems, it's usually because we have not been able to express our needs in each area. And so that's another thing to look at, so that you can understand better what might be happening. Why isn't it working as well as it could be? And it varies day to day, minute to minute, all that kind of stuff. It varies. So now we'll look at the throat chakra, and its color is sky blue. The sense is sound. The desires are inner peace. The challenge is to risk. The keyword is concepts or communication. So the throat chakra, it speaks for itself. It's right here at the throat. And it actually connects all of the chakras to each other. So all of the chakras above here and all below here are connected through the throat. So anything that's going on with the other chakras, and they communicate with each other, therefore then each chakra goes right through the throat. So if you're having any kind of throat issues and coughing and things like this, it could be because something is coming through from the other chakras, or that there's an issue with the throat chakra itself. And it is the lower mental auric body, divine will within. To align with the divine will within, to make commitment to speak and to follow the truth. And so it's the truth that you've heard so many times, that people are wanting to speak the truth. And that's where it comes from. If there are issues with the throat, then it's usually because we have not been able to speak our needs, and we have not been able to actually speak our own truth. And it's easy to say, speak your own truth, But what does that really mean? What does it mean to speak your own truth? It's the truth that means the most to you. It's the truth about who you are. So your truth about, as an example, chocolate. Let's just use something simple and easy. Some people love chocolate. Some people hate chocolate. Some people don't care about chocolate. Now, if you're in a social situation and the host or hostess loves chocolate and has a ton of it on the table, you might be inclined to say, oh, isn't this wonderful? Oh, look, there's all this beautiful chocolate. Instead of speaking your truth and saying, you know what, I really don't like chocolate very much, so I'm not going to partake in this. We sometimes will hold back because we're afraid that the person hearing our truth may not love us or like us anymore. And it all is about not only speaking our truth, it's in how we deliver it. Because the delivery is just as important as the information. It's not about dumbing it down or making it any less. It's about saying it in such a way that it doesn't sound like you're putting down the other person's choice. So instead of saying, I hate chocolate and it's disgusting, you might say something like, you know what, I'm really not, I don't really like chocolate very much. And so I'm not going to be partaking in this. And just as simple as that, you're not putting down the other person's point of view. You're also then supporting your own truth at the same time. And I'm using chocolate because it's an easy example rather than getting into something more controversial. And so a lot of the truth saying on social media has really taken a turn for the worse, I would say, in some cases, where people are actually hurting each other instead of discussing things. If you're willing to discuss things, that means you're willing to learn. And so even though that's not particularly pertaining to this subject, I thought it was something important to say. So it is responsible for transmitting thought and ideas from the third eye chakra to the 4 lower chakras. It is the chakra for communication and self-expression. It relates to sound, especially the voice. And at an emotional level, it enhances idealism, love, and understanding. When properly balanced, it gives contentment, peace of mind, and a good sense of timing and strong faith. Understimulated, we become weak, devious, and unreliable. Overstimulated, we become arrogant, dogmatic, sarcastic, and overbearing. So if you notice that it's within you or within someone else, then you might be going, okay, so, that might be something to be aware of. Now, I wouldn't suggest going up to the person and telling them your throat chakra is completely blocked, because that might start a confrontation of some sort. You might ask them if there's anything that you can do, and if they're open to it, maybe discuss what might be going on. As you may have noticed, the room here is throat chakra blue. I chose that specifically because in this space, this is my office, and this is where I do things like this. And I also do teaching classes and also coaching and teaching class through that as well. So there's a lot of communication that happens in this room. So that's why I decided to do it throat chakra blue, so that it opens up the throat chakra and makes it easier for there to be conversation and open communication, because that's important when you're doing any kind of coaching or anything like that, so that both you and the client are more open to speaking and communicating. So you can do things like that to actually assist you in whichever area you need assistance with. So the next one we're going to look at is the third eye chakra. And that one is located right in the middle of the forehead right here. And some people see it as an actual, like a third eye of your own. So if you look at your own eye, it may actually look the same in that area. The color is indigo. The desire is to be in harmony with the universe. The challenge is to make one's dreams a reality. And the key word is intuition. So that one, the third eye is related to clairvoyance. So, whenever we talk about third eye, people immediately know it's talking about clairvoyance. So it's clear seeing. And so therefore, that's the one that a lot of people know about. And it is our higher mental auric body, divine love and spiritual ecstasy. It governs the mind, and it is the command central that controls all other chakras. An emotional level, it increases our understanding of the everyday world by making us aware of our spiritual natures. All intuition comes from the third eye chakra. Understimulated, we become non-assertive and timid. Overstimulated, we become proud, authoritative, manipulative, and dogmatic. So our third eye chakra is like the window to everything. So when we think about, the third eye and the implications, that's, basically what we're looking at is all intuition comes from there, comes through there, and goes through to all of the other chakras. And the third eye is either open or closed, just like the others. And sometimes when you get headaches, it's because there's something going on with the third eye. That's where it could possibly be coming from, because the third eye might be clogged. It might be like we talk about the pineal gland being calcified. Therefore, it's all affecting all of those systems. So it governs all of it. So therefore, that's mainly where it may come through. And so, when we're looking at the third eye, it's governing clear seeing, basically. There is a channel through our head from the third eye, and it exits at the base of the neck. So it's right back there. And so sometimes that particular channel that goes through, and with any of them actually, and it can be clogged. There may be debris in there from past lives that are showing up in those particular chakras. Also with the third eye, it may be because we don't want to see something. So as in something going on in our lives, we want to turn what they term as a blind eye. So we have two eyes, right? Like two physical ones. So when you're turning a blind eye, you're actually closing your third eye. And that's why you cannot see the situation. An interesting concept, isn't it? So that's what our third eye is all about. Now we have the crown chakra, which is the one right at the top of the head, and it points upwards. A lot of times people see it as a lotus flower. You've seen it depicted as a lotus flower as well. Its color is violet. It desires universal understanding. The challenge is to grow in knowledge and wisdom. The key word is spirituality. Now, it isn't by accident that it points upwards, which in general is where God, the universe, spirit resides, is up in the upper areas. So it's the one that brings in the spiritual energy. And if you think about it, your root chakra points down towards Mother Earth. So therefore, it is bringing in the earth energy. So you've got spirit and sky energy, and then you've got earth energy, because both of them are important to our own life force energy. If life force energy is low, it usually means that one or the other is not working properly. And so it is the spiritual or intuitive body, divine mind, serenity, to be connected to the divine mind, to understand the greater universal pattern. It controls the strongest energy vibrations in the body. And this is where, in a lot of the religious texts, you'll see halos. It's because they're seeing the actual crown chakra. That's why the halo is apparent. It harmonizes the inside and outside of our natures. It also governs the mystical spiritual level, where we realize the connectedness of all living things. It directly connects us to God or spirit or the universe. Understimulated, we become withdrawn, uncommunicative, and lack joy in life. Overstimulated, we become frustrated, destructive, and depressed. Severe migraine headaches are common when this chakra is overstimulated. So the difference between overstimulated and understimulated means that that chakra's needs and wants are not being met. So if someone isn't doing, as an example, spiritual practices in some way, shape, or form, even sitting outside connecting to the earth is a spiritual practice, then their crown chakra or any of them can be understimulated. Overstimulated means that you're doing too much when it comes to that particular chakra or area. So someone who is doing a lot of physical activity, such as they're doing a lot of exercise and overdoing it, like, 7 days a week, all day long kind of thing, that can severely overstimulate your root chakra. So when you do particular practices, you can overstimulate by doing too much in that area. The idea is to do things in balance, as you know. Now, balance doesn't mean that everything is absolutely equal. I'll say that again. Balance does not mean that everything is absolutely equal. Balance means that in any given moment, all areas are at the place they need to be. So as an example, as I sit in front of you and I am teaching class, the areas that will be most engaged are my heart, my crown, and my third eye. The other ones will be engaged, but not to the same degree. And that's the balance that I need for what I'm doing today. And that's the difference, is that people think that it must be 50-50, which is not true. Anybody who has kids, and you and your spouse must divide the chores up about taking care of the kids, every day is not going to be identical, is it? Some days one will do a little more than the other. Or some days it might be more one and less the other. However, there is a balance needed for that particular day. So every day your chakras are going to move and change. They're not going to stay the same even from moment to moment. However, they can be blocked and stay in place. Maybe they won't be able to close or open as much because there are things that are causing problems. And that's what the difference is it's looking for what's going on in that chakra. What do I need to know about it? So that's where we start. And there are many practitioners out there who can help with chakras, that it's their thing. They can help you clear them, open them, do all that kind of fun stuff. So, that's basically what we've got for the chakra systems themselves. And there are many different ways that we can help to clear them, cleanse them, all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure you guys have ways perhaps that you've heard about that you can do. So whatever I'm telling you, you can also add other things to it as you've learned it yourself or heard about. So some of the things you can do to clear and open a chakra are to wear a particular color pertaining to it. So as you can see today, I am wearing a red color, which is pertaining to the root chakra. So if I need some assistance with my root, I would wear red. Same with the other chakras. And if you're not one to wear the color outside bold like this, then you might buy under things that are of that color, or maybe a handkerchief or a piece of cloth or something like that you can have in your pocket as well. And that will have the same effect of clearing. You can use white light to clear. If you're familiar with Archangel Metatron, he has the Merkaba, which is a sacred geometry symbol that you can look up on the internet and use that image to start through the crown chakra and clear throughout the rest of them. There are meditations online that can help you to clear the chakras. You can use crystals, which in a moment I'm going to pull up a chart that actually shows what types of crystals you can use for which chakras. So you can use those kinds of things, sound. So you can find on the internet any type of sounds that will clear the chakras. You can use tinctures, bells. There are crystals that pertain to each chakra. There are candles that pertain to each chakra, that when you burn them, they help to clear the chakra. Now, here's a caveat. Not all things can be cleared from the chakra using some of these methods. You may need to go to a practitioner to actually look into what's going on in that chakra and find out if there's anything you need to do in order to clear it and clean it. I've learned that through medical intuition. I can actually look into your chakras and find out what's going on. So there are practitioners out there who can help. So those are many of the different ways that you can clear them. So what we'll do now is we'll take a look at some of the crystals that you can use for each chakra. So as you can see here, we'll start with the root. It tells you that the color is red. So you can use fire agate, black tourmaline, woodstone, hematite, and tiger's eye. Those aren't the only ones. In general, if it is red or has some red in it, it can work for for the root chakra, or with other chakras. If it has that color in it, then in general, that will work for that particular chakra. So your sacral is orange, and it's carnelian, citrine, coral, and moonstone. For the solar plexus being yellow, there is orange calcite, citrine. So you can see citrine goes for both of them. Malachite and topaz. For the heart being green, which also, so you can see your rose quartz isn't green, but it's pink, and it works just as well. Jade, green tourmaline, and green calcite. For the throat chakra being blue, there's aquamarine, lapis lazuli, and turquoise. For the third eye, it being indigo, amethyst, black obsidian, and purple fluorite. The crown is purple, so it's amethyst, diamond, clear quartz, and selenite. Selenite is one of my favorites because it helps to connect you to the angels. And so it's one of my favorites, and it also helps to clear any type of crystal. So you can place it on there and it will clear it. So you can use any of these. You can have them in your pocket. You can have them beside you. Some women put it in their bra. That's an option. I mean, we have another place to put stuff, so, you know, that wouldn't be a bad place to put it. You can put them in your purse. I have a little tree that has all of these, like some of these different crystals. And so it's like a chakra tree. You can have a chakra bracelet, a necklace. There's so many different ways that you can incorporate crystals into your life that can support the chakras. You can also look into which essential oils pertain to the various chakras, and depending on which chakra you want to stimulate or to open, close, whatever you want to do, you can then wear that as well. So there's tons and tons and tons of different ways of opening and clearing and doing all of that kind of stuff with the chakras themselves. So there's so much information out there. However, I thought I would conglomerate a lot of it for you so that you'd have an idea of, you know, what that means. So we are now going to move on to auras. So an aura is an actual representation of your chakra around your body. So the energy from the actual chakra goes out from the front, goes around the body and to the back of where the chakra is there. So it looks like a bubble, except that it goes in to where the chakra goes in. So if the chakra is, so we'll use the throat. So if the chakra is here on the throat, then the bubble comes into the throat chakra. So that's kind of how it looks. So it's a bubble that goes around our whole body. And it is egg-shaped. And here's something interesting that you may not know. It is impenetrable from the outside. Nothing can break your auric egg from the outside. So no negative energies, no, nothing can penetrate it from the outside. However, it can be broken from the inside. How, you might ask? It's when we have negative thoughts about ourselves or about others. It's when we are projecting upon others negatively. So anything negative can break it from the inside. So therefore, that's how negative stuff gets in. Not because there's anything wrong with our aura. It has to do with the fact that we are breaking it from the inside. So that's food for thought. So that's why it is important to do your best to turn your negative thoughts around into positive. And I'm not talking about la, 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 everything's wonderful. It's about how do you think about yourself, because that will break it too, and others. Are you throwing daggers at them? Are you wanting to, you know, hurt them in some way by your thought process? Because It has to go through your aura before it can get to someone else. And think about this. If you're throwing this stuff at another person, and by no means am I saying you are or aren't, only you and your creator know that. However, if this is what someone is doing, it goes through theirs first, but if the other person's aura is intact, it doesn't even penetrate. Now that sheds a different light on, what you think about a person or how you react to things. And it's not to say you have to be nicey all the time about everything. It's, what are your thoughts? Are they centered around, more positivity and changing things into a solution rather than sticking to the problem? Is that's what's happening? So it's food for thought. So the egg encompasses your non-physical body. Etheric, mental, astral, spiritual, and emotional bodies are in it. Hate, revenge, all of those things must come through you first. The toxic energy that you spew onto others must destroy you too. Just as prayers and positive energy you put out will energize you too. The 7 deadly sins, as outlined, and vices break the egg from the inside. If you cracked your egg completely, you may have to be put into an institution. And it's the same thing, whether it's a negative emotion. You've heard those people who complain constantly about everything around them, and they're addicted to the drama and all of that kind of stuff. You can also get addicted to joy, happiness, and wanting to be in that state all the time. So you're always stimulating that as well. So it's being aware that what you go after is what you bring to you. Engaging in drama permanently is an energy vampire. Now, if anybody has ever felt like their energy has been drained by someone else, or they go into a situation where the energy is very draining, it takes 3 to 10 days to recover from an energy vampire. 3 days if you are pristine, and 10 days for most people. So it's not a quickie thing. That's why if you have family members who are draining to you, realize that it's going to take you time to get your energy back. And the way you get your energy back is through, picking up energy through Mother Earth and through Father Sky and cycling it through your body to actually pick up that energy and, help you to get back on your feet faster. These are things that you learn how to actually manage your own energy. And another thing that affects your chakras are what we call cords of attachment. And the cord can happen, and it looks like a cord if you really think about it. Cord, rope, same sort of idea. And it depends on the connection to the other person. It's usually between 2 or more people, because, cording yourself doesn't quite work. However, it can be from one chakra to the other, or it can be from any part of the body from a chakra, or it's usually from a chakra to either the other person's chakras, or it could be like to a shoulder, to a cheek, something like that, depending on what they're cording for. So as an example, if you have a relationship with someone and it's a healthy relationship, you may be courting hearts because you love each other. You might be courting from solar plexus to third eye because you might be wanting to receive information from that person. And so you're connecting to their third eye. And so we can cord each other positively and negatively. How you may negatively cord someone else is if you're afraid that they're going to leave you. So you might cord their heart, their solar plexus, and perhaps root. and it'll be a fear cord, and it looks different or feels different from a regular cord. Cords of attachment can be good because you're then allowing, so as an example, love to come between two people. Or they can be draining if, as an example, the other person, like we talked about, doesn't want you to leave. So they'll be courting you out of fear. So there's fear going along those all the time. There are many different ways to either detach them, cut the cords, all those kinds of things. The internet has a bunch of different ways. I learned a way to do it with Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael that I do with my clients. And that works really well. And what happens is each person gets their power back. So whatever those cords were, they get cut and healed, and it's healed on both parties. Please never, ever, 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 ever only heal it for self and leave the other person, whether you like them or not. Please make sure that they get healed as well, so that you can bless them and send them on their way. Or maybe you just want to, like if it's a boss and you want to get your power back, make sure that both of you get the healing, and then that way you both have your own power. Yes, you can record someone else. So if you've cut the cords between yourself and another person, they can attempt to record you. And the way you can stop or prevent that is you can ask, as an example, Archangel Michael to let you know when that's happening so you can actually stop it in its tracks. So that's a way that you can take care of that. So our aura holds many different things, many secrets in it. It holds symbols, it holds belief systems in each aura layer, because energy moves from outside in. If you are, if you're bringing to you, or if some sort of illness is coming, it usually shows up in the aura first. The aura can be as far and as big as 9 feet and even larger. So you can enlarge your aura to as big as you want, or you can bring it more towards you. In general, it's about 9 feet. We store all kinds of stuff in there. We store learnings in there. We store symbols. We store belief systems. So as we've stored the, excuse me, what can happen is that it'll be in one of the outer layers. And if you're not paying attention, it can continue to go through the layers, which you'll notice in different types of behaviors and things like this, until it actually lands in one of the pertaining or more of the chakras. And that's where it can show up before it becomes a physical illness. And this is just an example, just to bring awareness to how that can happen. And so as we become more aware of, the different layers and stuff like this, again, you can go to someone, or you can find out for yourself what's going on. So therefore, then, you'll be able to know, okay, so what's going on before it gets further down. The key is, after you know what it is, you then do something about it. Because knowing isn't the only thing that you need to do. You also need to actually action. So if there's something that you need to do in order to facilitate healing, do it. Because you don't want it to keep coming further and further and closer, and to manifest itself as a possible illness of some sort. Now, if you want to know more about, where the illnesses might show up and stuff like that, there are resources that you can look up. There are books that you can actually refer to, and they will tell you the metaphysical reasons for illnesses. There is a book out there that actually will describe. There's many books out there. I know Louise Hay has one, and various other authors have books that actually talk about, the metaphysical way that illnesses show up. So those are worthwhile things to look into. So our aura protects us, it keeps us safe. And the ways that you can actually heal it is possibly using white light. There are musical frequencies that help. There's a book called Alchemical Healing that has an actual meditation that is used to actually heal the aura. And I've used it myself a few times, and it is amazing. It works really, really well. So those are different ways that you can actually heal your aura. Another way is to heal your chakras, because when you heal your chakras, you heal your aura. So those are the things that I have today with regards to chakras and auras, a basic look at what it is, what they are, what they do. And I hope that you've learned something from here and that you're able to take it with you and use the information. If you have any other questions or you'd like to get in contact with me, please message me through my website, www.barbarakawa.com. And thank you so much for being here and being part of this masterclass.